In the early hours of September 11, 2001, New York City moved with its usual rhythm. Subways rattled underground, office workers hurried through crowded sidewalks, and the bright blue sky hung peacefully above Manhattan. It felt like a normal Tuesday, until at 8:46 a.m., a commercial airliner suddenly slammed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Flames erupted instantly, leaving millions in shock. People stopped in the streets, staring upward in disbelief. Emergency calls flooded every station as thick smoke poured into the sky. Television networks switched to live coverage, trying to understand what had happened. Then, only 17 minutes later, a second aircraft cut across the skyline. At 9:03 a.m., it struck the South Tower in a massive explosion. Confusion turned to terror. The world now knew these were deliberate attacks. While New York reeled, another hijacked plane was heading toward Washington, D.C. At 9:37 a.m., it crashed into the Pentagon, sending fire and debris through one of the most secure buildings in the world. The heart of the U.S. military was burning. Inside government offices, alarms blared, and officials scrambled to understand how many more threats were coming from the skies. Meanwhile, aboard a fourth plane, passengers began receiving terrified phone calls from loved ones, revealing what had happened in New York and Washington. Realizing their fate, they made a brave decision. They fought back against the hijackers in a desperate struggle. At 10:03 a.m., the plane crashed into a field in Pennsylvania, far from its intended target. Their courage prevented an even greater tragedy. Back in Manhattan, the Twin Towers stood engulfed in flames. Firefighters climbed stairwells filled with smoke and heat, carrying heavy gear, determined to reach those trapped above. Thousands attempted to escape down crowded staircases. Then, at 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed in a roar of steel and dust. A vast grey cloud swept through the streets, swallowing everything in its path. Only 29 minutes later, the North Tower gave way. The skyline changed forever in seconds. Cameras captured the moment live as the building crumbled from top to bottom. The city was covered in ash, and survivors stumbled through streets barely able to see. First responders, many injured and exhausted, continued searching for anyone who could still be saved. As the chaos settled, the nation struggled to process the scale of the loss. Over the next hours, hospitals prepared for survivors who never arrived. Families waited by phones, hoping for news. Across the world, people watched images of destruction and bravery replay endlessly. Governments strengthened security, fearing more attacks. Air travel shut down completely for the first time in U.S. history. In the following days, rescue teams from across the country arrived at what became known as Ground Zero. Firefighters worked beside police officers, volunteers, and military members, digging through twisted steel and rubble. They searched non-stop, driven by hope, grief, and determination. Stories of incredible bravery emerged. Strangers helping strangers, stairwell rescues, final phone calls filled with love and courage. Investigators quickly identified the attackers and traced the carefully planned operation back through years of preparation. Intelligence agencies around the world cooperated on a scale never seen before. Security systems changed overnight. Airports introduced strict checks, intelligence sharing increased, and nations united against the threat of global terrorism. In the months that followed, the impact of 9/11 reshaped foreign policy, military strategy, and international relations. The United States launched extensive operations overseas, beginning wars that would last for decades. Lives of millions were affected as the world entered a new era, defined by vigilance, uncertainty, and shifting alliances. Yet, beyond politics and global security, the human stories remained at the heart of the tragedy. Survivors carried memories of the day that changed everything. Families rebuilt their lives while honoring those they lost. Memorials were created where people came to reflect and remember. The empty footprint of the Twin Towers became a powerful symbol of both loss and resilience. Today, more than 20 years later, the events of 9/11 continue to echo through generations. It is remembered not only as a day of destruction, but also of extraordinary courage. A day when ordinary people, office workers, firefighters, passengers, police officers, became heroes. A moment that revealed both the fragility of peace and the unbreakable strength of the human spirit.